video, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Seedsman Seed Bank. Seedsman are one of the most trusted and reliable online seed banks in the world, offering a variety of seeds from over 100 different breeders with detailed characteristics like genetics and THC content for each strain. They have an easy-to-navigate website with filters tailored to your needs, and they also have collections for beginners and advanced growers. I decided to grow CBD cream and cheese. I've heard great things about this strain, and it's said to have a 1-to-1 ratio of CBD and THC. The first thing I need to do is germinate my seeds. There are a few different ways you can do this, however, I prefer the paper towel method. First, I place my seeds in a glass of water for 18 to 24 hours, making sure to keep the jar in a dark and warm space. After 18 hours, my seeds have sunk to the bottom of the jar, which indicates they are ready to roll. Next, I grab some paper towels and pour out the seeds. It's important to not drown the seeds in water, but just moisten the towels evenly. I'll be checking the paper towels every 4 to 8 hours to ensure it stays nice and moist. You don't want this to dry out. Similar to the first step, I'm keeping the seeds in a dark and warm space while they finish germinating. After 2 days, my seeds have all sprouted tap roots, and I know they're ready to plant when the tap roots are approximately 3/4 to an inch long. I first grab a few starter pots filled with my medium of choice, which is cocoa core mixed with some perlite in a 70 to 30 ratio. Using my finger, I create a small hole and I place in the seeds tap roots down. I gently cover the seeds with a small bit of cocoa and moisten the medium with some water that's been pH to 6.1. Young cannabis plants love high humidity, so I'm putting these seeds into a tent which is equipped with a humidifier. For early veg, I aim for 70% RH. If you don't have a humidifier, you can always take a plastic cup or a bottle and place it over the seed to keep the humidity up. A few days later, both my plants sprouted up from the medium. Now, I won't be feeding any nutrients for the first week of life. At a young age, cannabis plants can burn easily with excessive nutrients, and you'd be surprised how well they'll do with nothing added, even in a medium such as cocoa core. As the plants get bigger, I'll need to start feeding them. For this grow, I went with General Hydroponics Flora Trio with the addition of CalMag. I'll have these newts and every product that I use linked in the video's description. When the plants are 7 days old, I'll feed them 2 milliliters of CalMag, 1 milliliter of Micro, 1 milliliter of Grow, and 0.5 milliliters of Bloom. Between weeks 2 and 4, I'm going to be feeding 2 milliliters of CalMag, 2.5 milliliters of Micro, 2.5 milliliters of Grow, and 1 milliliter of Bloom. For weeks 5 through 6, during the transition,
everybody's different too. So everybody's different.
1
Just want to
milliliter
put
of
that out
Grow,
there.
and 2 milliliters of Bloom. During early to mid flower, I feed 2 milliliters of
This is
CalMag,
just what
2
he
milliliters
does.
of Micro, 0.5 milliliters of Grow, and 2 milliliters of Bloom. And in late flower, I'll feed only 2 milliliters of Micro and 4 milliliters of Bloom. For the last 2 weeks of flower, I'll flush my medium and just use pH balanced water. It's important to note that all of these amounts are per gallon of water used. It's also important to break up the feeds from time to time with a plain watering. To make it easy, you can feed every other watering to reduce the salt buildup that is known with synthetic nutrients like the Flora Trio. pH is also really important too. For cocoa, anywhere between 5.5 to 6.5 is okay, with 5.7 to 6.1 being optimal. For soil, it's a little bit different, with the range being between 6.0 and 6.8. You should pH your feed slightly different each time, as the plants will uptake certain nutrients at different pH levels. Plants are now 2 weeks old, and they're finally ready to get transplanted into their final pots. I'm using 5-gallon talls for these two. While the plants are still young, I'm watering once every 2 to 3 days when the medium starts to dry out. Cocoa core is technically a hydroponic medium, so it's hard to overwater, but it is still easy to overfeed. One of the benefits to using cocoa is the ease of flushing when a toxicity or lockout does occur. I'll be letting these girls be for the next week while they get adjusted to their new home and bounce back from the transplant shock. So far, they're looking great and loving life. It's now week 3 and I can finally start training these two. My favorite method is low stress training, which exposes lower growth sites and in turn creates more tops on your plant without stunning it. This is also a very effective way of maintaining a nice and even canopy. Training is easy but does take some time and a whole lot of patience. To start, I drill a hole at the side of my pot and I bend over the main stem and secure it down with some wire tie. As the plants get bigger, I'll be bending this main stalk in a circular shape around the pot while pulling down the new shoots, trying to keep everything as even as possible. You'll be surprised at how fast the plants can blow up. Even after a week, these two have exploded with new growth and are now creating multiple tops, which will eventually become colas later on in flower. Every 2 to 3 days when watering, I'm spending some time with these two working on their canopy. I haven't yet defoliated anything, just simply moving branches and trying to build a good base for my plant before I send it into flower. 6, I'm happy with how my plants are looking, and now it's time to get flower underway. Now, photo periods need a light schedule change in order to induce flowering, specifically 12 hours of light and 12 hours of darkness. I'll be using a plug timer that is scheduled to come on at 9 a.m. and shut off at 9 p.m. Now, when you set your lights on and off times is up to you. If you're struggling with heat issues, I'd suggest running your lights during the nighttime when the temps are lower. I'm also dropping down my light as cannabis plants require more intensity during flower. Mars Hydro recommends hanging the SP250 at 24 inches above the canopy for early bloom. Within a week, I've started to notice pistils popping from their nodes, which is a clear indication that these two are indeed female plants. Now that they've transitioned, I'll be removing the humidifier and adding in a dehumidifier. For flower, I want 50% and under. While in their first week of flower, I'll be applying another training method, which is called lily popping. Lily popping is the process of removing the lower branches and leaves, which in turn forces the plant to put its energy into its upper growth. This is a pretty important step as the lower growth will most likely produce small larvae buds that don't tend to ripen up by the time the plant is ready to harvest. Not only a week later, bud sites are popping up and trichomes are being produced on their sugar leaves. I'm a big fan of this strain so far. It's very resilient to nutrients, easy to grow, and so far is stacking very nicely. The work put into these two in veg is really starting to show as the canopy fills with nice-sized colas throughout. During week 6 of flower, I begin the flushing process. Now, flushing is something everyone tends to debate, but in my opinion, when using synthetic nutrients, it is a must. Flushing is super simple to do. In the last 2 weeks of flower, just feed nothing but pH-balanced water. No more nutrients. This will break up the nutrients in the medium and it will allow the plant to eat what it already stored inside of its leaves. During this time, you'll see fan leaves start to fade out and turn yellow. This is 100% normal and a sign of a successful flush. Now, these plants bulked up quite a bit. I debated installing a scrog net earlier in flower, but decided against it. But now I have branches flopping over because they're not strong enough to support the weight of the buds. To fix this issue, I used some hemp twine and tied up each pole into a single line that's running across the length of my tent. At week 8 in flower, it was time to start checking the trichomes. Now, previously I used a jeweler's loupe, but this time around I bought a cheap USB microscope. Now, what this does is it allows me to see the trichomes close up. Don't harvest based on pistil color, harvest based on trichome color. When the trichomes are all milky, the plant is at its most potent state for THCA, and when they begin to amber, CBDA levels begin to increase. I personally like a blend of 70% milky and 30% amber for anything indica or CBD related. I'm also making sure to check the tops and bottoms of my plants. Sure enough, the plants are ready to harvest during their 8th week in flower. To begin my harvest, I first chop the plant as a whole at its base. Using a pair of garden loppers, I snip the main stem where it meets the medium. Once cut, I released the lines attached to my colas and then I hung the plants upside down. I'm using my small 6-inch fan to push air around my tent, making sure it's not directly blowing onto the buds themselves. The golden rule of drying is to do it slowly. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who've ruined their buds by drying too fast. I actually add a humidifier into my lung room to maintain 55% RH throughout the entire process. Even for plants of this size, which aren't that big, they took 12 days to dry. I knew they were done when I could take a branch and bend it between my fingers, listening for a snapping sound without it breaking clean off. Once dried up, I cut the plants down and placed them into a plastic tote. Normally, I like a very clean and tight trim job on my buds, but this time around, I wasn't as focused on getting them to look perfect because of what I plan to do with most of this bud. You guys will find this out in my next video. Anyways, to start the trimming process, I first remove the fan leaves by hand. The fact that everything is dried out makes this very easy to do. Next, I use a pair of garden trimmers to remove the standing fan leaves that don't have trichomes on them. Your scissors will most likely gunk up after a while. Some people save this resin to make scissor hash. I personally just use denatured alcohol to clean my shears. Now that all the bud is trimmed, it's time to jar it all up and begin the curing process. I'm making sure to lightly pack each jar full up to the top. I'm also adding a humidity and temp monitor into each jar so I can have a better idea of what the environment is. As cannabis cures, chlorophyll breaks down and gases are released. If you do not vent these gases and moisture, your buds can either become moldy or will have some funky smells. For the first week, I'll burp 1 to 2 times per day, opening the jar for around 15 minutes at a time. For the following 30 days, I'll open it up once per week, and again, burping for 15 minutes. After that, they're good to go, and I'll add in a Brevita 62-pack for long-term storage. Cannabis can be stored for a very long time as long as the environment is right. Make sure to keep them in a cool environment, shaded from any light. If you notice your jars start to get an earthy haze smell, it means your buds need more dry time. Remove them for an hour or so while they dry further, and then put them back into the jars. And that's it. That's my CBD cream and cheese grow from start to finish. These two ended up weighing up at 237.6 grams combined, not including any larf or trim. We managed to pull 1 gram per watt with this grow using the Mars SP250. Overall, I'd say it's a great budget-friendly LED that can take a grow from start to finish. I'd say its strengths were shown in veg, with its weaknesses showing in flower. It's a white light spectrum with more of a focus on the blues, which plants really seem to love in veg. However, it's slightly lacking on the reds, which plants tend to like when bulking up those buds.
Okay, the next video.
What's up, everybody? If you that don't know me, my name is Chris, aka Mystic Rabbit. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time seeing my face, I would love to have you stick around and subscribe. I make videos on gardening indoors. In this video, we're going to continue on with the Bible Sun sponsored grow series. This is the 4-episode grow series, and it takes you from setting up the equipment all the way through the curing process. Episode 1 covered setting up the equipment and planting seeds. Episode 2 was the vegetation stage. The 3rd episode was the flowering stage. And the final episode, which is this episode, we're going to cover harvest, dry, trim, and cure. Just a quick disclaimer before we get into the video, I'm just documenting what I'm doing. There are many different ways you can grow these plants. I'm just showing you one way to do it. And this video is for educational as well as entertainment purposes only. All right, let's get into the video. Here we are at the end of the flowering stage. These 3 plants have spent the last 8 to 12 weeks developing buds and are just about ready for harvest. The Chill Out OG, which is bred by me, spent 8 weeks in the flowering stage before it was ready for harvest. The Maui Waui by ILGM spent 9 weeks in the flowering stage before it was ready for harvest. And the Sage and Sour by TH Seeds spent nearly 12 weeks in the flowering stage before it was ready for harvest. This is a great example of how different genetics will have different flowering times. So how do I determine when my plants are ready for harvest? I look at the trichomes with a microscope in order to see the color of them. Here I'm using the Vibos on jeweler's loop to get a closer look at them. If the plant's trichomes are 75% or more clear, then the plant is not ready for harvest. Clear trichomes are underdeveloped. If the plant is harvested at this point, the high felt after smoking may be too energetic, resulting in anxiety. Also, the high may not last very long. When the trichome heads mostly appear cloudy or milky in color, one will typically experience a more heady and energetic high. At this point, the trichomes are fully developed and are at their highest potency. Therefore, most growers like to harvest their plant when the trichomes are mostly in this stage. If most of the trichomes in the plant are an amber color, which is the final stage, a more relaxed body high that's stereotypically associated with indica strains will be felt. Amber trichomes are overdeveloped, and the THC within the trichomes have actually converted from THC to CBN. This is a degradation in potency. If the plant is kept growing, the trichome heads will actually fall off. So harvesting your plant within the optimal time frame is certainly crucial. Just a quick note, the trichomes of the leaves tend to turn faster than the trichomes of the buds. So I only factor in the trichomes of the buds when I'm making my decision on when to harvest. When we talk about trimming in this video, you'll see that the leaves get cut from the buds anyways. To harvest the plant, I'm cutting the plant's stalk at the base using shears. You can harvest the plant by cutting individual branches instead. I just like to harvest with one cut for simplicity's sake. Although, as you can see here, it can be a little challenging removing the plant from the trellis net. Some growers will cut the netting so the plant can be removed easier, but I like to use this trellis net in the future, so I'm doing my best to remove the plant from the net without damaging the buds. After harvesting, some growers like to trim their plant. I personally prefer to dry my plants before trimming. I've converted this 2 foot by 4 foot grow tent into a drying area, and I'm using a clothes hanger to hang the plant within the tent. Some growers use a carbon filter when drying in order to hide the smell. I have a carbon filter hung at the top of the grow tent here, but I currently don't have it connected. I don't need to hide the smell in my home this time around, but it is an option. I have the upper ventilation sock open and 1 to 2 intake vents open for air exchange. I also have an oscillating fan for air circulation, but I'm sure not to point the fan at the buds or else it could dry out too quickly. I have a humidifier to increase the humidity in the grow tent since I live in a very dry climate. And I have a temperature and humidity monitor so I can see what the temperature and humidity is in the drying environment. I aim for 55 to 60% relative humidity and around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 21 degrees Celsius. Under these conditions, it typically takes about 7 to 10 days for the plant to dry. When the buds feel dry and the stems snap when bent is when I trim my plants. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about trimming. I like to use trimmers like the 507 ones shown here. I
Zach
simply
says
cut
it's
as many of the
challenging
leaves
to
as I
remove
can
it.
while
Yeah.
not cutting into any of the buds. When I can, I'll cut the leaf off at the stem. If the stem is buried between buds, I'll cut off as much of the leaf as I can. If you've never trimmed before, know that this is a very time-consuming process. It could easily take 4 hours or even longer to trim one medium-sized plant. After I've trimmed the leaf off the bud, I snip off the bud from the branch. I trimmed up the Chiloto G and Maui Waui plants, but the sage and sour I plan to use for edibles. So I'll remove the buds from the branches without trimming, and we'll put them into a bag. I'll be making both oil and butter with this plant material, as well as the leaves that were trimmed from the Chiloto G and Maui Waui buds. After the buds are trimmed, I place them into jars for curing. I like to use glass mason jars. I prefer the wide mouth jars, as those make it a bit easier to get the buds in and out of the jar. I also put a humidity monitor in the jar. After the buds are in the jars, if the humidity is above 70%, they're at risk for mold. In that case, I remove the buds from the jars for 1 to 2 hours and then place them back into the jars. If the humidity is between 65 to 70%, I remove the lid from the jars for about 15 minutes at a time. If the humidity is between 60 to 65%, this is the cure zone. I attempt to get it to 62% since that is said to be the ideal humidity. If the humidity is less than 60%, I put a humidity pack into the jar in an attempt to rehydrate the buds. If the buds become too dry, they're harsh on the throat when smoked. When the humidity is in the cure zone, I burp the jars 1 to 2 times a day for the first 1 to 2 weeks. Burping is simply removing the lid and shaking the buds around to ensure they're not sticking together. After that, I typically burp the jars once a month. The absolute earliest that I smoke my buds is 30 days into curing. At that point, most of the chlorophyll is broken down, so you don't taste it as much, if at all, when smoking. Now let's talk about the final yield. If you're new to growing cannabis, know that there are a ton of different contributing factors to yield. Genetics, lighting, environment, nutrition, and how long you veg for are just some of the things that impact yield. These plants were grown in a small grow tent and were kept small, so keep that in mind. The Chiloto G yielded 66.5 grams. The Maui Waui yielded 70.5 grams. But both of those numbers do not include any of the trim, which I'll actually be using for a hash, oil, and or butter. Some growers include the trim in their final yield and some don't. And the sage and sour yielded 77.3 grams, which consists of all the plant material since I didn't trim that plant. Well, that pretty much wraps up the grow from seed all the way through curing. If you have any questions on your plants or just want to share pictures of your grow, post them on my grow community forum at mrgrowit.com/forum. I'm on there almost every day answering questions. Also, I just released a new version of my book on indoor growing for beginners. I'll link that down in the description section below. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please click that thumbs up, and we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.
Peace. Turn some lights back on. Peace. Everything. All right, I am back, guys. So those videos were both good, right? I thought so. Well, thank you. Good watch, huh? I thought so. All right, so I'm gonna let the ladies in. Dave was just dealing with it all day, he says. Oh, geez. I wish I was dealing with it all day. Ohio, maybe I'll get it together one day. All right, so let's see here. Says there's 3 people waiting to enter, so let's see. Don't own the rights to any of this music. Ooh, you guys see that? Honey, nice buds. All right, so I'm gonna see who's in. Let's let him in. All right, close. It's who's in. Admit. Looks like Rhonda, Dawn, and Jody.
The last time I was in this tent, I was
Good
harvesting
videos,
bass.
Dawn said.
Very fun.
I'll turn down this.
That
Let me
was
turn it
fun.
around.
And just to switch it up, for this run, it's going to be all photo.
Oh, why isn't it?
Fun stuff.
Yeah,
You guys see me?
Please.
there we go.
No,
No?
it's Jody.
Jody. I'm turning it.
Oh,
There they are.
Now I see you.
how are you, ladies?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see everyone.
Hey, Miss Jody.
I'm famous? I'm not famous. You're silly. You're so silly.
How's everybody doing today?
Good, really good.
Tired. Still trying to recuperate from vacation.
Still? Still?
Yes.
Days later, huh, Rhonda? Still recouping.
You need a vacation from your vacation? Who is it?
The struggle.
Right? Isn't that the
real.
case?
Yep.
Hey, Michelle. Hey,
Good.
Glenn. I see I'm popping in and out. Hey, everybody on Facebook. If you have any questions, just ask. Just reach out. Hey, Jody, you busy today?
Well, right now I can take a little bit of a break, so I have a good crew on with me tonight, so
Good.
I might have to
Makes it easier.
jump up and I might have to jump up and go, but I can at least hang with you for a little while.
We're happy to see your beautiful face.
Thank you.
How many babies today?
Only 2 so far on my shift, but I'm in triage, so it's like the emergency room of labor and delivery.
Oh, okay.
They have to pass go with me first
I was
before
gonna
they
say,
can get to the
stop
labor
and
unit.
go. Stop and go. Stop me before you pass go.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Michelle says, hello, everyone. Glenn says,
Michelle.
skipping and it keeps skipping and sticking on him. Is it skipping on you guys?
No, not on mine.
Hey, Cole. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Can you hear my phone? Because it's behind me.
Hey, Rose. I'm not sure who all is in here. If you're in here on Facebook, make sure you say hey. I'm not sure who's all still in here. So Rhonda, tell us about your trips.
Oh, we had such an amazing time at Pictured Rock on the boat tour on Lake Superior. And then we went to this place that was called Junk Art, but it was all made out of metal and you could drive through the property or walk through it in the wintertime. It's open, but you can't drive through it. You'd have to use snowmobiles.
Okay.
And shit, it was cold up there. One
Okay.
day in shorts, the rest in sweats and hoodies.
Is that at the top of Michigan?
I believe we were very close to Wisconsin by the Sault Ste. Marie, the Sioux Locks,
Okay.
up over the back and all. Beautiful. But
It looked
nothing
like
there.
No.
Mm-mm.
Felt like you were in Alaska, didn't it?
Where we were at, it felt like it.
One time I went to Michigan whenever I thought I had my card, and we went and we drove to Michigan, and I swear to God, it felt like I was in Alaska. It felt like there was a moose gonna jump out at any minute, and I was just in Michigan.
I didn't even
swear.
know Michigan had flipping moose.
No, I don't think they did. It just felt like I was in Alaska. It
Well, no,
felt-
they do. They
Do they?
do. In the UP, they have moose and elk.
Oh my God.
Like,
That was shit.
oh hell, they are up here.
Oh my God. I was just pretending. I was like, that's
No.
where it felt like we were at. I was like, oh my God, where in the hell are we?
I saw him in Wyoming. We had to pull over because one just totaled the Volkswagen, like totaled it.
Oh, I bet. That Volkswagen could probably just drive under the legs of the moose.
really
You know what I mean?
It
Oh
squished
my
it.
God.
What's that? But
Now, all the time visiting Maine and Boston area, did not see one. Not one.
No.
Nope, not one.
And that's where they all are.
I know. Well, and UP too.
Yeah.
But no, we had a really amazing time, a good time.
It looked like it. for me.
Medicated food and oh my God, medicated salsa, medicated pizza. Kelly, when she does that stuff, it's the bomb. Then we had can of creamer, can of sugar,
Oh,
can of a lot of stuff.
Zach says there's caribou too.
Ooh,
Caribou.
Oh, it's big. Those big deer things, like with the fuzzy thing, like the fuzzy antlers or whatever.
well, didn't you see me kissing the moose at Frisch's in
Mhm.
Marquette, Michigan?
Mhm.
Hey, that water, that when that wind comes off the lake, oh my God, it's so cold.
Oh, I bet.
Could
I
you
bet.
see me in winter there? No.
Mhm.
Hell no.
No, I don't do. I hate cold. I hate it.
Blanket on now and it's 75 in here.
Look at me. I'm in a freaking sweater in my basement.
I got a 32-degree pullover robe on.
If I was in, I would definitely have a hoodie on.
But it was nice. It was just nice to get away because we definitely needed a vacation,
Yeah, you did. I'm glad you had a little
de-stress.
recharge. A little recharge.
Fine.
You know?
Yeah. You know, and people really check on your families and your friends because the struggle is really real out there. I lost my son-in-law. And you just got to reach out and help people. Don't judge, just be there. You know, this last year and a half has been really, really hard for people.
Yeah.
People don't understand how important it is, how like mental health, like how important it is to talk about and not be ashamed about it.
No,
You know what I mean? It's nothing to be ashamed about. You know, people are so think, oh my God, I can't let people know I'm depressed. I can't let people know I struggle with anxiety. People can't know that I'm struggling with these thoughts in my head. They'll think I'm crazy. You know what I mean? People can't, so what? You know what I mean? Let people know, reach out to people. You know what I mean?
You know,
Don't hide it.
yeah, it's not just the mental illness. The drug abuse has skyrocketed.
off the charts, off
I
the
mean,
charts.
just crazy off the charts, and reach out to someone. There's always someone willing to listen, always.
So sad.
And cannabis will help you leave the narcotics behind and heroin behind, whatever your drug of choice may be. If you go about it the right way, it can be done.
It can be done.
It
You know,
can.
and I was pulling into a parking lot the other day, Rhonda. We were talking, since we're talking about, drug use and things like that. And I see all these signs and I'm like, what are these signs? They're just sticking up everywhere, like in front of the parking like things. And I'm like, we pull into the parking lot, the parking spot, and I get out and I look and I'm like, Suboxone. It's like, oh my gosh, I just want to punt the sign across the damn thing into I know it helps people get off, but there's other ways too. They're not, you know what I mean?
Main thing, the main thing is, you have to take care of your demons. You have to heal yourself spiritually, emotionally, and physically, because they all go hand in hand. And, times have been really hard for a lot of families. And I've seen so much sadness this year, I don't want to see anymore.
I don't want you to see anymore either. I don't want anybody to see anymore. That's why we got to stick together and come together. We all want the same thing. You know what I mean? We don't want anybody to suffer anymore. We want the suffering to quit, and we got to come together. We can't fight against each other, and I see that a lot. I used to think the cannabis community was a great community. I used to say, oh my God, the cannabis community, they open their arms and they take you in and
it can be.
It can.
But you got to find the right people, and you have to weed the sheep's and wolf's clothing and the bloodsuckers out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We just got to
come in many forms.
We got to find that again, that purpose that we all want. You know what I mean?
We're all after the same thing.
We are.
We just want to be able to medicate and grow our own medicine. I'm not looking to make thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I just want to be able to have my own medicine. Mm-hmm. And hey, if someone else that I come across needs it and I have it, why can't I gift it to them?
Yep.
It's just sad. It's just really, really sad.
It's very sad. We should be able to grow. I should be able to grow plants in this basement and sit down here for hours and be able to, just like that video, sit down here and not hurt a soul, and trim and play music for them and sing to them and bring you guys into the tent with me and have a great old time. And, you know what I mean? And all of us learn together and grow together, you know what I mean? And make medicine together and all do it together and learn, you know what I mean? We should all be able to do that.
And, I don't begrudge anyone for paying themselves, paying for the knowledge that they have, paying for a good quality product, but you don't have to bend them over and not give them any Vaseline, dry fuck them, because that's what you're doing. So, and the medical program sucks.
Ohio.
We just had another recall on brownies.
I just went over that on my live the other night. I read the recall right off our email. I was like, this, right off of it. There's brownie bites. I'm like, here we go again.
Hi. What is it recalled?
Mold.
Dang.
So if immune compromised person,
like
just like myself, what, Ron, what?
Are they testing that before it goes out the door?
Well, they say they do. They claim they do. But how do we know we're getting tainted medicine? And it's pretty sad when I can buy from the black market or grow my own medicine That's never been recalled. I don't have mold on my plants. I don't have mold in my tinctures. Why? Because I grow my medicine so I can make a good quality medication.
Zach has a question for us, Rhonda. What's stopping us from growing? Ohio?
Well, here's the
Nothing.
thing. You have to be decriminalized. And the area of Ohio where I live, Toledo, is no time, no fine. So it's decriminalized. I can possess up to 199 grams of cannabis, just don't have it bagged up in different baggies because guess what? You're a dope dealer. But I can have that. I don't go to jail. I don't get a fine. They might take my smoke and go back and smoke it themselves. You know, but a lot of the officers here in Toledo, when we were doing decriminalization, they were all for it. They had
They are.
it freed them up to take care of the true drugs out there, like heroin, meth, coke, you know, people drinking and driving, God knows what else. But you know, what are you going to do with the pothead? Take him to McDonald's before you take him to jail?
Or just take them to jail like they did me.
Yeah, no, a lot of the officers were for it. And I smoke. I blatantly smoke where I live. I don't drive and smoke, but I grow my own. We make our own medicine. So
I
you're
make-
really
Totally different part of Ohio than Rhonda does.
right. You're not decrim, Tonya.
See, we are, but I also have my medical card. But can you have plants? Can you grow like legally?
No. Well, what are they going to do? Come in and pull my plants and go,
Yeah. Yes.
Rhonda.
I mean, I know if I lived where I used to live, that's exactly what they do.
Oh, they would do that here now. They'd go,
I'd be in
Rhonda.
so much trouble.
They'll say, is it good shit? Can I come back after I retire and pick up the rest?
So yeah, we're allowed to have 6 plants, and then at the dispensary up to 4 ounces every 30 days.
Well, see, they don't want home grow because guess what? The dispensary and the pharmacy board that governs our medical program won't have any money.
They lose it.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
My plan's doing
So,
like
you know,
that.
like I said in front of the Ohio Senate Committee when I testified, Ohio has turned my old behind into a criminal.
Yep, sure did.
Don't I look dangerous?
So
Maybe a
it's-
little bit crazy, but not dangerous.
So dangerous in your velvet hoodie. Oh, hi. Hi. Give me your Doritos.
Oh.
Crazy, just crazy. Oh, I might have to leave Zoom early because this has been calling my name all night.
What is that? A donut?
No, it's
Okay.
called a molten lava cake. Look
Okay.
at that shit.
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
infused? Is it infused?
What are you dipping it in? Caramel?
Well, it's got caramel and chocolate, and then it's got like in the inner side, you heat it up, and when you cut it, it's like poof, and it's a volcano. And then you have ice cream with it.
You go, girl. Glenn says it looks good, and Glenn says hand over the munchies. Michelle's laughing at us.
Yeah, we went out for dinner tonight, and I'm like, let's get this to go.
Gail says she's on blue cheese with us tonight.
Grilla Corco is what I'm smoking.
Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot you guys can't see all the comments. Let's see, because we're doing it different tonight. Glenn says that's why we should all be able to grow. Gail says, hi, ladies. Hope you have a good evening. Smoking blue cheese with you tonight.
What do you want, baby?
Lynn says, still judgment is real. People are hard. Sorry, Jody says, sorry, had to jet. A patient came in.
See what happened, how your cat will look when she's 22 when you give her CBD all the time.
Hi, Ollie.
She's like, man, get me down.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys. I'm not picking my nose. I'm just fixing my nose ring. Aw.
She's picking her nose. Don't let her fool you.
No,
Yeah.
no booger here. Not yet.
One Zoe.
Glenn says, what's up, Dawn? Cheese.
Geez,
And Glenn says, cool cat.
keep going out.
Yeah, I can't believe she's gonna be 22.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yep,
22. I forgot
Yep.
about that's crazy.
Yep, she'll be 22 because it's been in December. I can't tell you what date. I don't remember. I just know it's December is when I broke my neck and when I found her.
Wow. She looks pretty good.
Well, she never left my side. Animals have, they're
Mhm.
intuitive. They truly are, whether it's a cat, ferret, skunk, I don't care what it is. If it's your animal, it does become intuitive.
100%. 100%. That's like Grace. I always say she's my emotional support animal. She like knows when something's coming, she can sense it.
Yep,
She can tell. You know what I mean? When I'm getting ready to get sick, she knows.
yep.
She can smell it.
I lie when I say I saved her, but actually she rescued me.
That's how it always is.
Even down to the gremlin Cooper, the Yorkie, same thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, have you seen those like dogs, you know, those animals that they say that can sniff out diseases and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
Look at a little teddy bear.
I totally believe in all that.
Oh, I do.
I do.
Because it emits some type of a scent. Some type of a scent. If you ever smell a cat that's, you know, dying or ill, they emit a scent.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yep.
You know,
Oh.
you can smell it.
Mhm.
You can?
Yeah, you can.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Just like a
Yeah.
person. A
Yeah.
person does the same thing.
It's just an odor that you can't describe.
Huh?
Yep. Yes, had too many of those in my lifetime to like get out of my head, especially being a nurse. You know what I mean?
Did you see the pet skunk my Yaya had?
Yeah, that white, is it white? Is it albino?
It's an albino skunk. His name is Blueberry,
Okay.
and he's been descented. He's just a baby, and oh my gosh, she goes, hey, yeah, will you feed him while we go to Pebble Beach? I'm like, cool, right on. I put the paper plate in that cage, and there was carrots laying down flat. He took his paws, hit one end of it, flipped straight like this, and he grabbed it and just bit it in half. His teeth had to be this long.
I have a question, Rhonda.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I know with other albino animals that they have problems with their eyes. Now, does he have problems with his eyes?
Yeah, he can't see very well.
I was wondering because I was wondering.
I think his eyes are like pink
Okay.
because he's Snow White, and then he's got, I believe it's pink eyes.
Okay. So I
But
know they have problems with their eyes, albino animals.
oh, but it's just fun to play with. He's sweet. I guess they can get mean. I don't know. When I seen the teeth, I didn't offer to feed it anymore
Funny.
or put on my lap.
That's like,
I'm like,
groundhog.
no.
That's like groundhogs. Have you ever seen their teeth like how big and yellow and they're like huge and they're yellow and they're like,
No.
Yeah, look at groundhogs like close up teeth. They're so funny, but they're huge and yellow, and they're like,
Oh, when I seen what it could do to that carrot, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna love you from afar. Aren't you cute way over there? Right, okay.
oh my gosh. You guys might remember my dad has that gray fox. He's cute.
I haven't seen it.
No? Yeah, he's
Here's
big.
what?
A silver fox,
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
like Noah's Ark. That's what I always call it at my dad's house. Like, it's like Noah's Ark up here.
Let's see if I can find pictures of the girls. Okay, there's one.
ooh,
Oh yeah,
pretty.
nice one.
I don't know if I can
That's-
call my girls yet.
That's a mother plant. And
How's yours going down in your tent, Dawn?
They're not
she's
flowering.
doing good. This one's Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Bobby.
Mhm. And then
Ooh, nice.
Ooh, nice.
this one.
Nice.
That one's tall. They're real tall. The last two were tall.
You know the strains on those ones?
Red Solo Cup because we lost
Oh, shit.
lost the name on it.
Oh, so
And
it's-
the
yeah.
other one is Champagne Kush, Japer, and Ricky Bobby.
Ooh.
So I don't know what the Red Solo Cup is.
Okay,
That's funny.
that's funny.
It's got to be some kind of an indica because the leaf is big.
Big.
I guess we'll just call her Madonna's for Madonna's panties. Never know what's in it.
Eh,
Yeah, mine's not flowering yet, but my one outside is just doing great. It's like,
Well, ladies, I'm gonna call it a night because my daughter Amanda just got here.
all
Oh,
right.
okay.
Well, it was nice seeing your beautiful face
Okay.
again. I missed you.
I missed you guys too.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to go on vacation and recharge a little bit. Big hugs, girl.
Yeah, now tomorrow
Yeah.
back to the lupus doctor.
Okay. Well, good luck.
So I'm like,
Good results.
right on. Well, you ladies have a good night. I love you guys.
Night, girl.
Bye-bye. Oh, shut up.
Is
yeah,
everyone on?
hard time. Did you see my plant when I showing it?
Yeah, I want to see it.
I mean, I think it's doing good, but see,
Oh yeah.
and it's up to my waist.
Yep, it is.
And no dying leaves anymore. It all looks healthy. Yay.
Gail says she brings hers in October in 2 weeks. October in 2 weeks.
What, in October in 2 weeks? What?
She brings hers in 2 weeks.
So why does she bring him in?
I don't know.
And, like, is that when they're ready to pull?
Must be. Maybe she'll answer.
Those videos were helpful. I was wondering. on some
Yeah,
of
I
that.
think they were both good videos.
They were.
I watched them earlier. Yeah, she said yes, Dawn. They're done.
Okay.
Cool. Well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, Dawn.
Thanks.
It's just you and me left.
I know. You gonna do a dab, or have you already done it?
Yeah, let's do a dab and we'll call it an evening.
Yep. We should do that.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us this evening.
Wait, point out that man to them.
Oh, I forgot how to open this.
You get it?
So all the rest you have to push and turn,
Yeah.
and then you have to push and lift.
Oh, what's that?
It's that golden goat,
Oh,
golden
good.
batter,
Okay.
golden goat batter, golden. You can't say it 3 times fast.
Golden goat batter. Golden goat.
Yeah.
Cheese.
Try it. Golden goat batter, golden goat batter, golden goat batter.
Have to make a rhyme out of it, a rap.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Glenn says he doesn't know when to cut his down. They're all individuals and ripe and different. His is
Man,
all different schedules.
That joint made my eyes close, and joints usually don't do that. That was that Lavender Jones
Oh,
strain, and I hardly even smoked any of it.
so how you doing with the other thing? I'm not gonna even say it.
Okay. Not great,
Stop.
but better.
Good.
But
Good. Better's better.
better's better. I'm
Yeah,
more
okay.
conscious of it. I'm putting him down.
Good. Just walk
Oh,
away.
yeah. Yes. Okay. 1, 2,
Oh.
3, 4.
Gail says they're 10 feet and 12 feet high. Hers are.
Oh, dang. Big. Mine, they're like 3 foot.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was dying 2 weeks ago, though. So the fact that it's now growing and beautiful, I'm happy.
But they like stress, you know what I mean? Stress them out sometimes. Sometimes stress is good for them.
I heard that could turn them into, like, I don't know. There's always so many different things out there. Don't do that. It will go hermy on you. Or don't do that.
I know everybody has their thing. You'll find your own little way as you go each year. You know what I mean?
I know. I got to get better at the low stress training, though.
Yeah, you'll get it. You'll get it.
Well, next time I'm using a felt bag so I can poke holes in it for one.
Instead of drilling the holes and stuff.
So I have, or so, yeah, I don't have a drill, so.
Glenn
I'm
says
just
he'll get there. He just
taping the things down pretty
Huh?
much. I'm just
What?
taping the little things down against the pot, the strings.
with the felt things, you could use safety pins.
Safety pins?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would work. That'd be better than poking holes in it. Thanks for dabbing with me.
Yeah, thanks for diving with me. I hope you have a good night and a good week. I'll
You
probably
too.
be on tomorrow evening, late
You've
night.
been on a lot lately.
Yeah, I'm usually on after everybody goes to bed. I'm bored and down here.
Oh, and it's right when I give up looking, I'm like, okay, she's not coming on. Because it's been later than usual lately.
Yeah, I'm bored usually. I can't sleep usually, so.
I'll have to remember to keep looking after, I think. Because I have Facebook shut off because it just go ding, 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 ding all the time.
Well, I usually forget you're an hour behind me.
Yeah.
So it's only 8:06 there.
Yeah,
8:07 now. But
It's early. I'm not going to bed for like hours. So when
Yeah.
everyone drinks their tea and get ready for bed, I'm like, bye. See you a while. I went to
Uh-huh.
bed at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I'd be up at 2 a.m. going pacing.
Yeah. Me too. That's why I'm like on later. And I'll be really bored the rest of the night. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So, everybody go to www.thewalk4change.us. Sign up for their newsletter, their email. Everybody follow us, Ladies for Change. Everybody follow my page. Everybody, we love you. Thanks for
Love
supporting
you.
us. I love you too, Dawn. I'll probably
Love
be on
you.
tomorrow evening. Thank you guys. Everybody on Facebook, we love you.
You. No, I can't look that way at you. Bye.
Everybody.
Didn't go at me. I was like,
Bye. Love ya. Bye, guys. Bye, Dawn. Love ya.
I love you.
See you tomorrow.